Right, part, where are we to? Part 8. Right, so you then create that new problem of you've killed someone. Now that person, if you kill that person in the UK, you've lost the government £25,000 a year on average. Because that's the gross domestic product of the British people. It's around £25,000 per year, or about $40,000 a year. And the government can't have that because you've cost them 25 grand that they can't pay, they can't use to pay off the Rockefellers' loan. So and more importantly, it's a breach of your common law, in that you can't harm anyone, you can't injure, you can't lose. So you can't kill someone because for two reasons. One, it's against common law, and secondly, the government would lose money. Therefore, the government becomes an injured party. Now that relationship has to change. We are not here to build a better future for the global elites. We're not here to pay profit. We're here to build a better future for ourselves. And I'm going to repeat that. Build a better future for ourselves. Now, the government would say, yeah, that's fine, we're trying to do that. But if it's proven true that the government are in debt to the corporates to the sum of $600 trillion or whatever, then how do we change that fact, if it is a fact? Now, it's all about the value of things. How valuable are you to yourself? You're the most valuable thing in the world. How valuable are you to the government? Well, on average, 25 grand a year. How valuable are you to the Taliban? How valuable are you to the US government? Again, 25 grand a year. How do we change the reality that is perceived, that we imagine, that we are bonded slaves to the corporates? You get your paycheck at the end of the month because you did a month's worth of work. How do we change that? How do we consider how to change that? Because I've seen loads of evidence that, for example, solar power is really good. Now, how do we get solar power on our roofs? Well, if we're rich, we phone up a company and say, hi, I'd like solar power on my roof, please. That'd be £15,000. Okay, fine, here's my bank account details. When you've completed the work to my satisfaction, you can have the 15 grand. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll be there Thursday to install your solar power. Now, we know that there is climate change. We understand climate change now, far better than we did 40 years ago. And climate change is going to, even now there's some doubters, but don't believe them, there is climate change. How do we get solar power on the roof if we don't have any money? This has got me thinking. And I'm just using this as an example. So the simple answer is you can't. Now you can have other issues associated with that plan, that idea. The idea is, how do we get solar power on the roof if you don't have £15,000 or you don't have 5,000? You're not eligible for the government grant assistance programme. How do you get solar power? Because therefore, if you can't get solar power on your roof, how do you fix the planet? Now again, this is just an example. You can go to my, for fox's sake, do you want solar power on your roof or not, on Facebook if you want. But how do we fix the planet if our whole system is geared around profit? Now, is it profitable to burn up the world, to blow up the world with bombs? On the one hand, yes, you get rid of an evil like the Taliban or Adolf Hitler or Mussolini. You get rid of it. You destroy it. But wouldn't it be better if we had what supposing the Taliban had a power station in Afghanistan and they were using it to power their propaganda campaign on the internet. Now, would it make sense to blow up that power station, or would it make more sense to shoot the Taliban? Again, I'm digressing here, but when the power station is perfectly good at supplying electricity for the needs of the Taliban, for the Afghans, for the people that live in the region around that power station, is it sensible to blow up that power station when evil persons are using that power to propagate a war against a foreign invader? I don't know. The point is, it's better to keep what we've got, don't blow it up, and to use the diplomacy, to use the electoral system, to use democracy to persuade the Taliban not to shoot us. And the Taliban keep their power, but they don't kill us. They don't upset us by causing us harm. And again, I seem to be digressing off from the main subject here, but I believe it's better to keep what we've got, power station in Afghanistan for example, rather than blowing them up like we did in Iraq and Vietnam and places like that, right? And then try other ways to fix the problem. The problem is we've raised global temperatures by a degree, and we need to change that. We need to fix the way that we provide power. We need to change the way that we govern ourselves, so that the government that we elect into power, the government that we trust implicitly to govern us responsibly, without abuse, without bankruptcy, without corruption. I haven't seen it happen. The government that I've seen for the last 45 years has invented more and more creative ways of nicking your money. I've thought up ingenious ways. I mean, I saw a piece of legislation about importing grey squirrels. It's illegal to import grey squirrels. It's any kind of squirrel, I guess. But we need to fundamentally change that government. We need to force, in a way, the government to change. Now, I've seen it, like I said, 45 years. The government has just got worse. They're more abusive, they're more bankrupt, they're more corrupt, they're more incompetent. And the longer that we leave it, the less likely we are to fix climate change, the less likely we are to stop war, the less likely we are to pay less in tax for better services. Now, a lot of those services that we've got, we obviously need. Like, we need the NHS. We need the NHS to stop people dying. We need to supply ambulances. We need to, if we have a horrific motorway accident, we need a helicopter to fly in to ship the injured out and back to hospital. We need all of those kinds of essential services. But I could also argue that those essential services include electricity, includes water, includes sewage, includes telephone. It includes solar power on the roof. It includes switching off coal-fired power stations. It includes not robbing us blind. It includes doing stuff more efficiently for less cost. Now, the cheaper this government is, the less money you have to pay the government. And the less you pay the government, the less the government pays to the bankers. So we need to shut down the Federal Reserve System. We need to edit it. We need to reform it. We need to not necessarily destroy it, but we need to fundamentally reform the way that we govern ourselves. I'm going to stop it again now and go on to the next part.